Yo, 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 yo.
Hey everyone, welcome back to the channel, and today we're going to be reviewing Wandavision Episode 5. But before we get into that today, I'd like to thank you for stopping by. I hope that I've been able to earn your subscription. If so, hit that subscribe button down below. Like, comment, share. We're 5 subscribers away from our first giveaway on this channel. So if you're not subscribed yet, do so now, because you won't be able to be involved in the giveaway unless you're a subscriber. So we're 5 away from the first giveaway of the channel. I want to thank everyone new who's been stopping by and subscribing. I want to thank everyone who's been around. But the only way for this channel to grow is through you guys, and by telling me and guiding me through comments and likes on what content you're liking more than others. Any ideas, give them down below. I'm not above reproach. But yeah, 5 away, so let's get on that, guys. Come on. You know, let's do all this beautiful YouTube stuff to help grow our channel. As a reminder, also, I'm going to be changing the name of the channel in about 4 or 5 days from the time of this recording, due to the fact that there's another channel called Tully Talks, and it's going to prevent me from doing any type of branding as far as merch or websites are concerned. So come this Sunday when I drop my Retro Blast video on Sunday this week, I'm going to be unveiling the new name of the channel. It's just going to be a change of a word or two, but it's still going to be the same content I'm bringing you, the same interaction, the same uploads, the same type of thoughts and ideas that I have are coming towards you, and the openness of your thoughts and ideas coming my way are going to be there too. I don't know everything. I'm going to miss stuff, intentionally or unintentionally. So it's up to you guys to keep me on my toes down in the comments section. So I'm all up for that. Like I said, I don't know everything. I may forget to mention a thing or two. But like I said, that's the comment section down below is your opportunity to be like, hey, Bart, Tully, get on the ball here. But let's get into episode 5 of Wandavision. Enough of me babbling. I have a habit of that sometimes, as people who know me will tell you. Bart the Babbler. But normally I would start off claiming spoiler warnings, but I felt like this one maybe, if you haven't watched WandaVision by the time I'm recording this, it's been about 4 or 5 days since it's come out. I wait in between to kind of think of things, that's why. I normally don't do spoiler warnings, but this time I will. I just go right into things, so anyone who does stop by new on this channel, just be aware I don't make it a habit of doing spoiler warning triggers. I just get into it, so be aware of that. When you watch my content, I'm not going to necessarily every time tell you spoiler warning, but this episode I will, because we're getting closer to the end, and there's a lot of things have to be decompressed at the end of this episode. But however, we start off with the standard parent-child thing when you have newborns. If you've lived in a house with newborns, they do a lot of crying and a lot of pooping, okay? And it's not until they start getting older where they can become more interactive. So the twins were crying, so the crying in stereo was definitely getting to her, and trying to figure out what to do, and she tries to cast a little spell on them to make them go to sleep, which is, holy moly, Wanda, already trying to use magic on your kids? It didn't work though. The only people in Westview that the magic of hers hasn't worked on yet. They keep crying. Vision and Wanda are trying to figure out how to calm them down. We see then Agatha come in, full 80s outfit, the frizzy hair and everything. The only thing I didn't notice on her was the camo that she's been wearing the last 4 episodes. I don't know if I missed it on her, but I don't think I've seen it in her jazzercise getup. But she comes in wanting to help Wanda and Vision. Auntie Agatha's got tricks up her sleeve. Ooh, I wonder what that means. And Vision's kind of iffy on this because he wants them to be able to do it, and he's not sure of her anyway, of Agatha, it seems like. And as they're going back and forth with that, Agatha turns around and she's like to Wanda, do you want to take that back from the top? And Vision is like, take it back from the top? The top, like, top of what? What? And Wanda is like, oh gosh, she knows! Oh! And then kind of looks at her, and Agatha then just kind of like comes in again. So Agatha is definitely aware of her rewinding time to do these scenes, these cuts to that are being broadcasted, because it's obvious that Wanda is editing what Sword is even watching. That we'll learn about, that she's controlling everything. She's controlling what they're seeing, what's being broadcasted. So Wanda is aware of what she's doing. Agatha is also aware of what she's doing. We're still in between whether Wanda's fully doing this on her own, without any prompting, or is there the motive? What's the motive of her doing this? It's hard for me to believe that Wanda just woke up from coming back to life from 5 years and just was like decided to get nuts. There's reasons why she's doing what she's doing, and we'll get into that in a few minutes also. As Vision and Wanda are discussing the Agatha issue, you hear the children stop crying. They kind of go over to the bassinets and the children are missing. That's a little Easter egg towards the West Coast Avengers and older comics. Because when Agatha Harkness was the nanny for Wanda's children, they would disappear sometimes, not knowing where they were at. And then it would be like Agatha would come and be like, oh, I had them at the park. But they were really disappearing. So that was a little, oh no, where's my kids? But you see them age themselves up 5 years, because when they turn around, you see the twins, like in that 5-year-old physical bodies. And Agatha turns around, she's like, kids, you can't control them no matter how hard you try. And that's just a recall even back to the beginning of the episode when Wanda was trying to do the magic on them for them to stop crying. These twins are already showing interesting things. They are also aware of the reality that's going on, I think, outside of Westview. The reason why I say that is because there was a discrepancy with the children saying it was like Wednesday or something, and Wanda was saying it was Monday, and the kids were arguing like, no, it's not Monday. It's only Wanda trying to make it Monday because she's trying to give Vision a distraction to go to work, and that winds up not working out too well for her favor anyway, because when Vision is at work, you can see them setting up newer technology that you would see in the 80s, like those big clunky, where you plug in there's a big clunky phone. I don't know why I couldn't think of the word phone for a second. Big clunky phone, and you plug it into your monitor, and that was, I think, some of the early beginnings of the internet, so to speak, because businesses were setting up computers to talk to each other about invoices, orders, this, that, the other shit. Norm turns around to Vision and is like, oh, it's like you're a living computer, you know how to talk to them. And it's like, oh, haha, yo. You know what I mean? Like, oh, they did it, they made a joke about him being a robot. Which I know he's an android, not a robot. Okay, or synthesoid. He's a synthesoid for the nerds out there. I'm sorry I said he's a robot. I'm playing, guys, I'm playing. Don't mind me. Then they get the email from Darcy out in the real world towards Sword about what she's thinking of. The Maximoff incident, I think it's being... but the Vision knows who Maximoff is, you know what I mean? It's like Wanda Maximoff. He knows it's kind of about her. We then see Vision touching Norm, and he wakes kind of Norm's real personality up. I'm sorry if I don't know Norm's real character's name, or unless it's really Norm. But Norm is like freaking out now. He's like, my sister and my sick father. Why am I not near my sick father? Because it seems like Norm was like taking care of his father, who may or may not be dying. It sounds kind of like he was at death's door if Norm was bugging out this bad about why he's not near his father. And the sister, he's trying to find his cell phone, and Vision is just like, oh, he's like, it's her, and she's in my head. But he doesn't mention Wanda. So, kind of leads up to Wanda or Agatha, and I'm still on this Dottie thing. We didn't see Dottie this episode, I don't think. Where has she been? You know what I mean? They made her such a big thing in episode 2 that I thought she was going to be kind of a lingering thread, and maybe they're pulling her back to kind of surprise you in the end, because I haven't seen Dottie in quite some time. We get a new commercial. It's for Lagos paper towels, and then you see the paper towel like wiping. It's like Kool-Aid, some sort of Kool-Aid or fruit juice on the counter, but this commercial is in reference to her mind when she accidentally, it was from Civil War when they were going after Crossbones, and he had a Susie Q vest on, and it was gonna blow all the Susie Q happiness, not happiness everywhere, and in order to protect the people around her and Captain America, she wrapped him up in some sort of energy bubble and lifted him up in the air, so the dynamite vest wouldn't go off near people, but kind of went off near an office building and killed a few people, more than a few people. And we know the follow-up, she felt very guilty. She felt very guilty about that. And when you hear the paper towel wipe like the fruit juice off or whatever, which is supposed to represent the blood that she spilled, you still hear it dripping off the counter because it's still dripping in her consciousness. Then we find out that this is kind of 9 days later at the episode 5, where they're at now in episode 5 is 9 days after the end game. She was on the search for Vision, and she came across them in a sword facility. And I think it was the last sword facility she visited. I think she kind of like decimated a lot of these facilities. And we see Vision very much from the classic storyline again back in West Coast Avengers Vision Quest, where he's just laid out, all his wires and everything exposed. And think about it from Wanda's point of view. She died. She just had to kill someone that's the love of her life, and then she had to watch him die again. So her killing him it just gave her the guilt of killing him. Then she had to watch him be killed by Thanos. Then she was snapped, and then however many years later, to Endgame, she comes back, only feels like 5 minutes, or whatever like that. Faces a Thanos that doesn't even know her for real, but she let him know either way who she was. And then to find Vision, not only not being able to find his dead body or be able to visit him in some sort of memorial service, she comes and she sees he's being dissected and prodded and all these things. And Jimmy Woo is like, well, he didn't want to be resurrected because he didn't want to be used as a weapon, but not on Jimmy Woo so much, it's more on the sword facility I'm meaning this, but then why not just put his body somewhere in some sort of storage unit? It's not like you need a sarcophagus or like a real burial ground for him. You can just kind of stick him in some sort of container and kind of like let him lay in a memorial service, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know then why, if he didn't want to be resurrected, why did Sword do all this dissection on him? But again, that's more on Sword and not Jimmy Woo. Jimmy Woo and Darcy seem to really be on Wanda's side, because Haywood is really trying to whoop it up as her being a terrorist without any real sort of empathy or anything like that. We see them trying to do a drone surveillance thing into the bubble. Monica Rambeau does not know that the drone is armed, and Haywood tries to shoot Wanda with the missiles that's attached to the drone. That didn't work out so well because Wanda came out with the drone, threw it at Sword. She was surprised to see Monica still there. She basically kind of made it seem like she knew Haywood a little bit, or at least encountered him on the way to finding Vision. Cause how'd she really find out where Vision was? You know what I mean? I think Haywood is setting her up. I don't think Haywood is like Mephisto. I think Haywood is just being used by whoever is behind the scenes. I don't think he's the mastermind though. And so she basically makes Sword turn all their guns on him so she can go back into the bubble, because she says this is the last warning. Only warning, don't come in here. And she had her Sokovian accent on her. And, let's see. She didn't turn any guns on Monica, so she must know that Monica on some sort of level is on her side. She goes back in. Her and Vision have an argument because Vision comes home, questions her about Norm, questions her about what's going on, and Vision says, "You can't control me like everybody else." And her response was, "Can't I?" Vision gets all flabbergasted and mad, and he's like, "I don't remember anything before Westview. Why can't I remember anything? It's you, Wanda, it's you." And things calm down a little bit, and Wanda sincerely seems like she doesn't kind of know how it all started. It just seemed to have gotten out of hand, and at this point, it's like, well, just in for a dime, in for a dollar. You know what I mean? At that point, we hear a knock on the door. And Vision is like, "Wanda, man, we're trying to talk. I know you're doing that. Why are you trying to distract?" And she's like, no, I'm not trying to distract. She gets up, she opens the door, and it's Evan Peters, Quicksilver from the Fox Universe X-Men. And it's Quicksilver, but not her Quicksilver. And she says, Pedro? And he kind of gives like, yeah? And he's like, what do I want to give my baby sister such a tight squeeze of a hug her to death or something. Which is kind of weird. There's a couple, so that's the spoiler. Evan Peters, Quicksilver. You can kind of notice a red glow around him when he first comes in. There's nice red flares throughout the episode. Sparky. They came across Sparky. The kids wanted to keep the dog. Wanda said that they had to be 10 years old in order to take care of the dog. They aged themselves up to 10 years old. The dog died. I think Agatha killed the dog. They caught her, I think, mid-shoveling and digging a hole for him. The kids asked Wanda to resurrect the dog from the dead. Agatha said, you can do that. Or asked, you can do that. So she either is playing that off or didn't really realize how powerful Wanda was. But, back to Pedro. I just wanted to throw that in there. Yeah, and he kind of seems like kind of like the Pedro from the X-Men movies from the Fox Universe, but a little bit more like the Uncle Bag of Donuts, you know what I mean? How you doing? Hey, you know, hey. You know, so, and then he asks who this popsicle is, meaning Vision, so that's kind of like makes me realize that he's aware that Vision is dead. And Wanda's confused about, because throughout the episode, and since the last episode, Pedro's been making appearances by just his name. And so we kind of had a feeling this was going to eventually happen. This opens up a ton of things, because we really don't know how and where he came from. We only have theories that because her subconscious was fighting with the love of her life, that her brain went out to wanting the next person that would console her on a natural basis, and that would be her brother. And being there in the 80s, maybe the subconscious reached out to a Quicksilver that was in the 80s from the multiverse that was active during the 80s and brought him, and that just happened to be Evan Peters' Quicksilver. But you can kind of tell his character's